Okay, so we're going to show how to carve out just a difficult section in one of your images. And as you can see here, you sent me the image and I have it here on my iPad, and I just magnified it to blow it up so we can see some things that we might not be able to see if it was smaller. So I believe that you have already carved out this outline around the hair of your figure in your Linocut. And so what we need to do is to carve out this front portion here, which is the profile to her portrait, her face, carefully carving around the mouth and the nose, and then finding a chin and reconstructing a chin here, because it all kind of gets lost in this marker here. So I try to reproduce that here on the back of my image here, so that we can carve together and so you can see how I would approach it, and hopefully that will help you to figure out how to carve your image. So I'm going to catch up with you first. I'm going to actually go ahead and carve out this area here with the head. Then I'm going to come in here and carve out some of this profile. Now, what you may want to use to help you along is a white colored pencil or a white pen. And sometimes I use both of those. If I'm not sure of the line that I want to carve, I will redraw the line with white, and that will basically show me where to actually do the carving. You can do the same thing with a pencil as well, as long as your pencil is really sharp. Here I have a 4B pencil, and what I'm going to do is come in here and just carve in or pencil in some of the line here for the mouth. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Here I'm going to carve in or just pencil in some of the mouth and where I want some of that lip, where I want the bottom lip to be. Because again, because we have this black area right here, it makes it hard to see where the profile of the mouth and nose belong. So I'm just redrawing that with my pencil, and I'm going to carve out that pencil. This is a profile that I can see a little bit better, as you can see here. And then we're going to talk about how we can just move back the chin and the neck and produce a neck that looks like this. You can see it's just back a little bit further away from the chin here, just to create a little bit different profile. It doesn't change your picture a whole bunch in my opinion, but it does create just a little bit better, easier to see image. Now I'm going to be using the number 2 gouge, V-shaped gouge from Speedball. But if I were carving this on my own, I would probably want to use a smaller gouge, a number 1 V gouge. And if you look at the gouge I have here, this is not Speedball obviously, but it does have a really small shaped gouge here, and I think that would be the best gouge I could use for this particular image. These are flex cut carving tools, and they just make a really good small gouge. You can see it there. It's perfect for carving out little small areas. So because you don't have one of those, we're going to try and carve everything out with this, being mindful of where the tip of that V is, point. Here I'm going to actually go ahead and think about what we talked about in class, right? Where is the V and how close is it to the line, okay? Just keep that in mind as you are carving, and you should be okay. So here, get to there, and I'm actually turning the block as I carve on it, as you can see. You can, if that doesn't feel comfortable to you, just stop the block and then take your tool out, and then begin again this way. Again, as you can see, just carving there. Sometimes it's easier to see things, as we talked about in class. If you change the color of your block, you can see things a little bit better. And so I want that to show up really well on camera. So I'm going to use this orange marker to actually change the color, and hopefully you will be able to see it a little bit better. I'm not going directly over top of my black Sharpie, because that will smear the black. I'm trying to stay inside, almost as if you're coloring in a shape. Imagine this is a coloring book. And you can see how close I've gotten to the actual figure with the V of that gouge. And you can put this just about everywhere if you want. Hopefully that will make it a little bit easier for you to see things. Always have your markers next to me. Here I have Sharpie on my table here. Also have, as you can see here, another rose art colored marker as well. So again, I'm going to change the direction now. I'm constantly thinking about changing the direction of my, where I'm carving, because I want to carve this way comfortably without actually straining my arm, and it just helps me to actually see what I'm doing as well. So here I can see right inside of that cut, and that looks good to me. See that? And now I'm going to carve that pencil line that I talked about. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit closer if I can here. Excuse the shaking of the camera. That's going to become more evident as the time goes on when we're actually carving. So again, I want to carve this pencil line away. So I'm going to start inside between the lips here. I'm going to use the V of that gouge here, just the tip of it, inside of that shape. Okay. Here's that part of the lip. I'm going to turn it. If you can, turn it, or just pop it out just like that. See it? There's that V. Gonna create that part of the lip. Again, go slowly if you need to. Just do it in parts if you have to. And bottom lip here. Might be a little sharp. There we go, that's better. Come here just a little bit more. That looks like she has her mouth open. See it? I can deal with that. And if that is not what you were looking for, then don't go into the mouth there. Okay. You see that? Obviously, you want to clean things up, right? We want things to not be too sharp, so I want to take away that sharp edge right there very carefully. And I want to soften the lip just a little bit inward, right there. I want to carve that part away, just to soften it a little bit. And then I think I need to separate the nose just a little bit from the top of the lip. So I'm just going to use that V again, part of the tool, the gouge, and I'm going to go this way. There we go. So I want to actually draw in the new line of the chin that I want to carve. So here's the new line of the chin. There's the line there. And now I'm going to go into carving the inside of the form there. Again, if you want it a little bit softer, you definitely want to change the tips. But since you all don't have a number 1, we're going to stick with this number 2 gouge, okay? And just refine things a little bit better. Remember, you're only going to get so soft. Just remember, we haven't been using this tool for years and years and years. I know, at least I haven't. I use it occasionally when I'm teaching my classes, but so we're going to get certain results, and so I don't want you to stress too much about not getting the results that you want the first time. Remember, we're going to continue to get better at this, all right? One thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit of shadow right underneath of the nose right there, okay? And I really like where you put the nostril, so I want to put just a line upwards right there for the nostril. And actually, I want to put a little bit dark shadow right here where the jawline is, okay? Just to show that there is a neckline right there. And again, we're not actually drawing any of the features, but we may want to just put in just the symbolism, right? Use a little bit of suggesting that there is a form there. See that? You don't even have to put that in if you don't want to, but you can. It doesn't hurt to put that in. Okay? Again, my mouth is open, but if you decide to have a closed mouth, like I did on this figure here, you can definitely do that too. Her mouth is closed. Again, I'm using a different tool for that particular image. On this image, I have to use a 2. So it's just challenging me to actually, do what you're doing. I'm going to go right to the eyebrow, then I'm going to stop. So you can do the same thing in pieces, okay? You don't have to do everything. You don't have to carve everything all out at the same time. Since we can't correctly make a stop cut here, there, I want to make sure, I carve this way before, let me see, show you. Carve all the way this way first. Keep that nice, thick, heavy line there. Go right to the tip of the nose. Before we get to the end there, we stop. That's what I want to do, is I want to go this way. Well, I don't want it to blow out. I don't want it to blow out the tip of the nose. So I want to continue my cut that way. And I want a little bit of roundness to that part of the nose, not so straight. I want it to definitely look more flat. I'm just going to take a little bit off right there. Maybe too much. Just be careful when you're working, okay? So you don't take off too much. A little bit of nose there. Just be careful. It is a fickle little medium, especially this material. If you're ever not sure of yourself, then it's better to not do the mark, not to carve, right? If you're not sure of yourself. So takes care of that. Now I'm going to come in for this part of the lip. I'm going to try to be very, very careful. Not go too deep. Keep it nice and shallow. Don't press down, and try not to get the angle too deep. So lip. See if we can do better on that lip. So remove some of the material off of my tool. Here's the top lip. Okay, and now I'm going to try and make the bottom lip. Get that material off there. I'll go to the chin now. just going to carve backwards to try and remove some of this material off. Go. Now I'm going to try and carve backwards consistently towards this stop cut. Oh, there we go, you missed that part. So I carved this part first, and then I carved backwards towards that stop cut. I know there's a stop cut there, so you definitely get different results if you use a smaller, sharper V gouge. Okay, those are the results I get with her. I definitely was looking to get her lips to look a little bit more full than they did, but I did take some off of it, which is unfortunate. So just keep that in mind as you're working on yours. You want yours to look a little bit more full, your lips to be a little more full. Then keep in mind that you don't want to take off too much of the lip there. And then you can continue as is necessary, removing the rest of the material from your form. Again, I moved the neck back just quite a bit from the original place where you had it, just so it looks like she has just a little bit more of a neck there, or a chin. And you could go even further. You could, just come up just a little bit and just take off more. Yeah. I'm gonna go there, and then I'm gonna just carve back just a little bit more in order to carve more of the neck off. Just give her a little bit more neck. You gotta be careful there. You see what's happening, right? With this material, you can carve off too much. You gotta be careful. See how the neck got a little thin, right? The chin got a little thin right here. You see it? It's really important you don't do too much. So that's how I would handle the face and carve that part out. Just keep that in mind. Just doing that outline first, really, really thin and carefully. And then coming on the inside of the form. And then, just going ahead and carefully carving out some parts of it. There we go. Okay. So hopefully this is helpful to you. I'm going to pick up all that texture. So the more texture you leave on the face, the more you're going to get a gray ink line, or some hatching, what appears like hatching. Let me show you with this marker. I'm just going to brush it over top of this form. And you can see by just brushing it over top of the form, back and forth, what might come up, or what might become some hatching. You see, she won't be completely a white figure, as you can see here. It will be some value in there. And again, if you want more value, obviously you leave more material, and you get a darker figure. It might be awesome to actually just do the outline as well. So just do this part that I was showing you in the beginning. Just do this part here, where you've just gone over the outline here, and then see what that looks like. And don't carve out the inside at all. That's also an option. Okay. So be careful here, here at the lip, with this little V. Using a number 2 gouge, and this area right here is possible, as you can see here. But as you can also see, depending on how wide that point is on your V, it's going to make this either open like I have it, where it looks like she has her mouth open, or it can cut into the lip. And you can see both of those things here. This is open, and it did cut into the bottom lip as well. So it made the lip a little bit smaller. So you have to consider that as you are actually working. What do you want to do? Do you want to try it with just a silhouette first, or would you like to, go ahead and just go for it and see how sort of works out for you? Either one is going to be valid here. Either one you're going to learn something from, and you can always go back later on and then reproduce your image and recreate your image and recarve your image. This is how I would handle the hair, by the way. Just putting some hatching in it, some lines. Just some lines just like that. And again, if you have a smaller tip tool, you can actually go a little bit thinner, and you can make these lines a little bit more fine, and you'll get a different kind of texture because of it. There's that line there. Okay, so that's one possibility. So hopefully this is really helpful to you. Again, I'll just bring this back over so you can see how it began and how it ended. Remember, the neck was a little bit different, and of course some of the profile was a little different as well. Again, there's nothing wrong with this one. This one's, I like this profile as well, but again, the lip sort of got lost in here, and we lost kind of the chin. So again, carving that outline here, okay, and then going ahead and making sure that you redraw this before you do that with pencil, so you can see it a little bit clearer. You'll be able to see the sheen of the pencil on top of this black marker before you actually start carving that part. Then you'll be able to see that a little bit more clear before you go any further with the carving. So again, this is just an option, but again, I can do exactly this here to finish it, which is what I'm going to do just to make it look more like this one, okay? I'm going to get rid of the nostril here and maybe even the bottom lip as well, just to make it look a little closer to your image here. Since we have a video of this right here and what that looks like, you can always stop here, or you can do the following, which is carve away this part here. Just leave a little bit of a mark back there that represents some part of the nose. You see that? So carve that away, and then of course you would need to carve just a little bit more of the nose here, underneath of the nose, so you get more of a profile like that. See it? So both of them are, legitimate to try, and I would say go ahead and try both of them. Maybe flip it over, do it on a different side. If you don't have any extra, obviously you can't try it, but yeah, both of them are legitimate. So give that a shot. Okay. Here's what it looks like without that, without the nostril there. Okay. And again, you can see what that looks like there. I don't mind like practicing things over and over again. So if you have an extra pad like this, it's nothing wrong with going in another area on the same scrap pad or block, and then inking in that image one more time, and then carving it, practicing the carve, and then going back to your image. Okay. Again, I would highly recommend using a number 1 in the areas that are really, really highly detailed, like what you see here. Again, for all of the areas inside of the form here, I'm definitely going to use this tool right here because it's very small, get a lot of fine detail, and I feel really confident with just going inside of the mark. You see that there? So it just takes off little pieces at a time, and that's fun. That gives you a lot more control, a little more confident about what you're doing. As you can see there. So yeah, I'm doing the exact same thing on my version of this image. The image, again, remember, is a copy from Baba Huey Lee Smith's work, Stroll with Balloons. And that painting, the sister is looking to the left, which I think we're probably going to get once we print this, because remember the image is backwards. So she'll be looking like she's looking to the left when we print it, although it looks like she's looking to the right on this image. Again, you can see that the work that the number one does, for these small areas, this is the right tool to use. Maybe for the large areas, not so much. It would take forever. So you can see I captured some of that small detail in there in the face. I'll hold it up a little bit more. And so again, going back inside of here and just being very careful about how deep I'm carving. Be careful about how deep you're carving with this material. It's very, very soft. So if you're not careful, you can carve too deep. And we don't want to do that. You can see that I pretty much captured that profile with the number one. Again, tools do matter. That's all carved out. And what I'm going to do is, you can see the lines there where you have some of the hatching on the face, which will create a little bit of a texture here. I'm actually going to carve some of that out with the number one as well. And I even think that I can go a little bit closer here with the neck, carve some more of that out here, and leave more of her chin here as well. So same issues that are happening with yours as well. It's just, again, if you have a number one gouge, go ahead and switch to the number one gouge to do your work on this one. It's just make it a little bit easier, okay, to actually work and create an image. So I hope that's helpful to you, and if it is, let me know. Just give it a thumbs up. And I will actually see you in class. Good luck, and I can't wait to see your great art. Peace.